Welcome to the family with
Hackmaster Ralph Terry Basham, MD.
Who's that kid at the end down there?
What's your name?
He's not talking.
You do want to listen?
Don't want to listen.
Okay.
No, don't want to listen. Okay.
Oh, don't want to listen. Okay. And also,
Andy Brant Bernard.
there you go. Nana's here too somewhere, but I don't know where she is. She hit the door or the road or something. I don't know what she did. But in any case, she will be here. But Ethan is in studio. Melissa's here as well. Oh, Melissa, I gotta give you an email to send some stuff to.
Okay.
All right, we got to remind me because otherwise I'll forget. You know, it's just how it goes. So what's going on in the world? Anything good?
They can't get the Seine cleaned up in Paris.
No.
It's still a sewer.
Yeah,
Is it
I'm
really?
sure.
Yeah,
I
it's a mess. I mean, you can't clean up a body of water like that overnight. I mean, $1 billion they've spent. You know, that's a 10, 20, 30-year project. So
Yep.
I don't know. How long did it take for them to get Lake Erie cleared up? Was it Lake Erie or was it the river in Cleveland that was on fire in the 60s, 70s? There's so much, pollution that it was burning on its surface. The oil was.
That was the Cuyahoga.
Cuyahoga in Cleveland?
Cuyahoga.
Yeah, that was on fire. Yeah, Cleveland. The Cuyahoga did start on fire. I know that.
It was burning a river. So, it takes a while, and then you can clean those bodies of water up. Lake Erie was the same way. Lake Erie was a mess. The fish were down, and they launched some program to clean it up, and they got it pretty well clean. They got the alewives cleaned up out of Lake Michigan eventually, once they introduced coho salmon. So there's all sorts of stuff, but it's not an overnight kind of a thing. So,
No, I wouldn't imagine it is an overnight kind of thing. That does make sense.
And Paris is going to be a mess because they're going to have the Olympics, and I think that overlaps or is very close to when the Tour de France ends in Paris. So they're going to have all sorts of crowds and traffic and things like that. So stay away from Paris unless you really want to see the events.
I suppose that is. When's that start? Next month?
Yeah, next month. The Tour de France ends mid-July, and then or in a bit, and then I'd have to check. When do the Olympics start, Andy?
Let's see here.
Don't they start pretty soon? There,
One would think.
July 26th.
July
It is the
26th.
26th. Okay.
And the Tour de France ends before that, I guess.
So 17 days from now, the Olympics will start.
Yeah.
Tour de France ends on the 21st.
21st, yes, 21st. And they clean all that.
Got 5 days to clean up, and then off we go.
Off they go again. So to exchange crowds, sports crowds, and go on. Although some of the cycling crowd will stick around, I'm certain, for the Velodrome and all that sort of stuff.
Oh, there are a couple of stories just popped up. I just threw this out to the morning show guys because Tevin's got some tattoos. Gen Z, and that's through what age, Andy? Gen Z is like 21 or something.
Let's see. Gen Z, the end is, well, it's debatable, but early 2010s. So probably like 10 years old. Probably the youngest of them.
And the oldest of them are how old?
Mid 90s. So 30.
So they're 30. Okay,
10
that
to
makes
30
sense.
it's a generation,
Okay.
20 years.
That makes sense. Gen Z has hit the tattoo regret stage of life. And the only reason that I brought that up is because when we were in Coeur d'Alene in Spokane, every person had a tattoo.
Yep, I know.
I mean, everybody.
Yeah, well, yeah, and it's fine to get them, but you got to be careful. You don't get your girlfriend's or your wife's name because you never know when that's going to change.
No,
that's
That's nice.
advice on that. But you want to really reflect before they start creeping up onto your neck and your face. You want to really think about that. That's not where you want them. You want to be able to cover them if they're private. I mean, there's a lot of tattoos that are memorable to people that really have a very private meaning. But some of the stuff, don't get the lobster on your forehead.
Yeah, that's probably not a good idea. Catherine's here all dressed in pink.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on, Pinky? You probably better close the door.
Barbie.
I'm trying.
Yep.
Get here.
Ethan likes to talk.
Ethan's like,
Nana's here, now she's leaving. Poor Ethan.
Well, Ethan's doing just fine. It's not a problem. We're just talking about tattoo regret. The Gen Z has tattoo regret now.
They do?
I never for one moment in my life ever could say, and again, I'm not saying I got it right and you got it wrong. It just tattoos were never for me.
Yeah. Well, they
Never-
weren't but there was a whole different generational kind of a thing. I mean, tattoos really, it had a really negative connotation. And to a certain extent, the reason people get tattoos is to sort of project that past negative connotation. Well, I'm a wild person. I'm crazy, blah, 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 that sort of stuff. When you and I grew up, people that had tattoos were people that had been in the service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And most of them, you looked at the guy's arm who had a tattoo and it was all blue because all the other pigments had been absorbed by the body.
Whoops.
So
It's like the flying hellfish
Mom's
tattoo
mic
from The
isn't working
Simpsons.
here.
I need a mic. There I am.
Abe Simpson had a tattoo of the flying hellfish, and he showed it to Bart. I forget what he said. He said, "What does this look like to you?" And he's like, "Wrinkly gibberish." And then so he stretches his skin out, and it looks like a fish.
Oh,
That's how it goes.
well, true.
You give it long enough, a tattoo's not going to look like anything.
yeah,
Well, my uncle Al served in the Navy,
yeah.
and he said that all these guys would go, they'd get into port finally, and they'd all run and get a tattoo. And he said, I'm not getting one of those. And one of the guys on the ship apparently had like a sepsis problem, and
Oh,
another
God.
guy had some sort of other
Oh.
infection from it. And it was just like, he said, ships aren't exactly clean.
No, they're not.
Whoops.
And you've got these open wounds, and you're, rolling around and
Well,
whatever.
that's the thing a lot of people don't take into account is after you get a tattoo, you can't expose it to tainted water for a while.
Right.
Well, you can't
So like
wait.
the recycled water on a ship when you're showering,
Yeah.
not a great thing to bathe a fresh tattoo in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a guy that I know, they used to cut my and Lindsay's hair. He was in, Malaysia, someplace like that. Got a huge tattoo, covered his entire body practically.
Really?
And he
Mm.
got so sick
Yep.
because of the water
Yep.
in even the shower wasn't clean. He was
Yep.
really ill.
Bacteria
Oh.
get right in there.
Yeah.
It has to heal. It's just like skin in your knee. I mean, it's exactly like skin in your knee. You fall, you skin your knee. It's the same thing. You got this open wound, and the last thing you want is to put filth on it.
Yeah. Because tattoos, do they go? They're in the dermis,
Yeah.
right?
You put it in the dermis, and it's metabolized very, very slowly.
Yes.
Oh, Judy's looking at the camera.
No, what it is Jude wants to sit on my lap because Ethan's here and he needs protection from Ethan.
That's true. Ethan loves him, but he gets very
Well,
rough.
Ethan overhugs
Yeah,
Yes,
he does.
he
He
does.
overhugs.
and
He's-
kind of strangle hugs.
He's got some of mice and men stuff going on.
yeah,
right
and he
now.
kind of wants to, and Jude has those big glossy eyes, and he wants to touch them, and yeah. And Ethan has been known to hit. Oh,
Oh yeah,
I
we
didn't
can't.
know
No, this
Daisy
is not a
was
good
here.
idea.
no, it's
Easy.
okay. He just didn't know Daisy was here. It's okay.
There you go.
Wow.
We're gonna have a dog fight.
Grr.
I'm sorry, Daisy. I didn't know you were here. Oh wow.
Okay.
There we
Jude's
Jude's
go.
like, get away from my mom. She's protecting me from Ethan. yeah,
You got
you.
Ethan here. You got Daisy here.
You. I see you. Oh, what a cutie.
He's
Hi,
a very
cutie.
cute kid.
He's very cute.
Are all little kids cute now? Because I don't see many ugly little kids anymore.
They're like puppies. They're cute. They're calves. Any baby animals.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
so
cute.
cute.
Yeah.
Raccoons.
Mhm.
Baby raccoons are also
Except
sweet.
for rats and things.
Rats.
Baby
no.
baby birds not so much till
No,
they get
baby
feathers.
birds look pretty gross.
When they get
Yeah,
feathers,
that's
they're
right.
okay.
Yeah, after the fledgling stage, but before that, it's like,
Yeah.
Except for pee or like chickens, baby chickens
yeah.
and ducks. They're yellow. They're
Yeah.
fluffy. Things like that.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like flying birds look gross when they're young,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but like land-bound birds don't. I don't know what that's all about.
Well, all
I got something about
Huh.
having to grow in your flight feathers.
Well, they
and-
get feathers pretty quickly.
They
Thing.
do.
Yeah. I mean, usually,
Yeah.
I think a robin from the time it's out of the nest
Yeah,
is
it's
a
a few
couple
weeks.
of weeks.
Yeah.
It's just no time at all.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's just a few weeks. They do.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
they grow fast. I didn't know it was a few weeks.
It's a few weeks, maybe 3 weeks.
They
something like
fledge in
that.
3 weeks.
I think so.
Wow.
Maybe
Let's
a month
see.
maximum.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree.
After fledging, they can fly in 10 to 15 days.
Okay, so it's probably a month.
So yeah,
I remember in our old house in Golden Valley, we used to have robins' nests all over the place, and the robins that weren't quite ready to leave the nest, everybody else was gone. You'd find one in the backyard,
hmm
and you could walk right up to it and pet it. It was like I just don't even know what to do.
yeah.
I'm the late bloomer. I just
They don't
everyone's
know-
gone.
they don't know
My
to be
mom's
scared
not
of
feeding me
things yet.
anymore. I just don't even know what's happening.
Mhm.
That's the cycle of life. That's what the raccoons get. That's what the crows get.
Yep.
That's what
Yep.
everybody else gets a bite to eat at that point.
Oh, bites to eat.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, the crows are eating raccoon roadkill out where I am. That's for sure.
Oh, sure. But
Gross.
20, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. It's a buffet.
Yeah, it's like the buzzards down in Florida. It's so gross.
Turkey vultures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
All right, I have not opened this story yet. I'm just looking at the headline because we've discussed this before on the show. There's no question about that. And Ralph, you're not originally from here, so you're probably the first one should comment on this before I open the story. Are Midwesterners really that polite? A new poll looked into it.
No.
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 Andy?
I mean, it depends.
No.
Like if you're related to them,
Yeah.
then probably.
I don't know.
Yeah,
We were
that-
just out west, and people stop for you in crosswalks.
Mhm.
People
Yeah,
open the door. They say, "Yes, ma'am."
Yep.
I'm like, "Where am I? Is this? Am I in the 50s? This is
Well,
amazing." I
Paul-
mean, it was. I remember when I was younger. Being called "Yes, ma'am," of course, was
Mhm.
Hey, what do you? Don't you ma'am me? I'm not that old. But now it's like it just. Even the young people are. Most of them were very polite.
Politeness scales inversely with population density.
That would make sense
That
because
does
that
make sense, yeah.
Spokane and Coeur d'Alene area are not.
Yep.
I mean, Spokane's a fairly good sized city, but it's not. It's not a metropolis by any stretch of the
Right.
imagination.
Yeah,
And people were just very pleasant out there.
They are. They're very pleasant.
you were in Chicago. They were relatively pleasant.
Yep. I
You
agree.
didn't get that passive aggressive stuff you get here.
No,
No,
No.
they're not
Chicago.
Chicago.
what's their
no.
deal?
No, it's-
Every area's got a deal.
It's regular aggression.
It's just normal aggression, like
Assertion.
Active
East Coast,
aggression.
more like
Actually,
East
well, like
Coast.
New York. Well, it is. It's more. It's kind of in your face, a little bit more upfront than anything else. But here it's just, and it's just
It is
not
weird.
not a friendly place
I
if
mean,
you're not from here.
Yeah, I mean, and it's obviously it's a skewed result because we're on vacation, staying in a nice area,
Yeah, that's true.
and Hoop Fest was going on
Oh, Hoop Fest.
in Spokane. Honest to God, it was hilarious.
What's Hoop Fest?
It's this huge basketball 3-on-3 tournament that everybody participates in. They shut
Everyone.
down the city.
Yep.
All the streets have basketball hoops, and everybody's a volunteer.
Wait a second. Let me just look into this a little bit. What was sort of the ethnicity of most of the people?
Everything.
Everything.
Everything, really?
Everything. Yeah.
Yep.
We sat in the apparently what was it? It wasn't a world fair. It was some
Oh,
big
yeah.
festival in
In 1972.
1972, and they built, how
74
they go
maybe.
in and they build up pavilions and all this kind of stuff, and they have a beautiful park area over by the river
Oh,
there.
it's gorgeous.
It is just gorgeous. And there was like a pavilion, and that was the older guys. And that was, there was definitely a lot of black people there. I
Yeah.
would say the audiences were not.
In Coeur
So
d'Alene,
much.
or this is in Spokane?
No, this is in
This is
Spokane.
Spokane.
Okay.
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, honest to God, you would talk to these people, and this has been going on for 50 some years. 50 some years. And it is everywhere. You cross the river, they've got hoops over there. You cross the other side of the river, hoops way down there. The entire downtown core is shut
Mhm.
down, all Hoop Fest.
Is it like half court?
Yep.
Or full court?
Half court,
half
three,
court.
Half court, 3-on-3.
3-on-3.
Yep.
And it's been going
Huh.
on forever. It's a gas. Everybody is just having a great time. But so we were sitting there when we were watching the older guys, right? I don't know what the names of their teams were, but
No.
they were dunking and they were having dunk contests and all this kind of stuff. And I was talking to this older black gentleman who was what did he call himself? Court marshal.
Oh, court martial.
He was
yeah.
a court marshal.
Court martial.
And he invited us to sit in the VIP seats because nobody was in the VIP seats. I think it looked bad for the local TV station. So he was trying to fill the seats. So he let us into the VIP seats. And he said, yeah, you're not going to see much bumping. You're not going to see much this. You want to see bumping? Go around the elementary school kids. They're vicious. The parents are screaming at the refs.
Yeah. Oh God, yes.
And one woman who we were talking to at the restaurant, she said her son at 12 was, I don't think he was a ref, but he was a scorekeeper. And he wouldn't do it again because the parents got so mean.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable.
For the little kids. And it's like, well, that tracks for, parents with their kids in sports. They seem to be the worst.
Well, the reason I ask about the racial balance is that because so many of the good players are the inner city kids that play.
Yep.
Well,
these
people came from miles.
Yeah.
People flew in to play
Well,
with teams that they've been playing with
Yep.
because they were from the area and they've been playing in Hoop Fest for 30 years.
Jeez,
I mean, it
amazing.
is
Hoop
just
Fest.
and I said, why are so many
Oh.
people here? Is there a huge grand prize or something? They're like, no, this is just for fun. And I'm like, can you imagine trying to do something like that in downtown Minneapolis?
Everybody needs
No.
a tribe.
It would be horrible.
Everybody needs a tribe, a group of people with a common interest,
Mhm.
and that's one of the basic human needs.
Yeah, I mean, they had age
so
brackets.
sweet.
They had special needs. We watched the special needs one for a while. They were adorable. They were having so much fun.
They were
Mhm.
adorable. You're absolutely right.
Some of them were taking it way too seriously. Cried when they didn't make a shot, and I mean, it was every kind of person. And I think they even, if you were, let's say you were 10,
Yeah.
I think they had it divided between taller kids and shorter kids. So it was just super
Yeah.
fair. It was a well-oiled machine. Let me tell you.
I asked everybody back here, could we ever do that? And they said, absolutely
No,
not.
there's no way. It
They
would
said,
just
"No
be
way."
disrupted with too many activists,
Yep.
which is interesting because Washington is the home of the activists too.
Not Eastern Washington.
No, just by the coast.
It's by the coast.
Well, we were
you were an hour and a half.
Spokane's got a lot of problems.
Coeur d'Alene is sort of one of the centers, I think, of the Passe Comitates, and they're
I'm not so sure anymore.
they're pretty conservative. They're pretty conservative up that way. Huge Mormon population.
I think the people are, but I don't think the government is anymore because they were passing. Remember, there was a 4th of July parade, and we
Mhm.
got out of there because we were flying out on the 4th of July.
Right.
And they had just passed a law saying that there were no crosses allowed, none in parades anymore. So what did everybody do? They showed up with crosses.
Yeah.
So the government is trying to be.
But like I said, it's a huge Mormon population, huge Christian population up that way. I mean,
Well, it's ironic actually because I remember when I was a kid, they were not allowed to show crosses in any video game. So,
Oh, really?
In video games?
Yeah, so like the Japanese version of Legend of Zelda had crosses in it. They had to get rid of it for the North American version, and that was because of conservative pressure. They didn't want their religion associated with video games.
Oh.
There
So
you go.
you never really know why.
Yeah, you never
they're
know who's
saying-
driving
Yeah.
things. But crosses in a parade, I can imagine only that would be the local
Probably a
government.
progressive thing.
Yeah. And they were also, the librarians were all having a sit-in and awareness thing because they had passed.
librarians.
The librarians were having a big problem because they had just passed. They were trying to pass a law or just passed a law in Coeur d'Alene about pornography being allowed for children.
Yeah,
And they
librarians have been throwing a tantrum for like 6 years about not showing kids porn.
Well, they're calling it book banning. It's like, it's not book banning. Obscene material is obscene material.
Well, and even
I don't
it
care if you
is-
put it in a cartoon form. It's still obscene material.
Even if it's book banning, so what? A book isn't some like sacred object that you're not allowed
No,
to,
I agree.
blaspheme against. It's a book. Books can be bad.
Well,
They can deserve to be banned.
Yeah, but they'll in a second take out Huck Finn and take out Tom Sawyer.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ask them if they've got, Mein Kampf in their library.
Yeah,
I'm sure that they don't.
well, they probably do. It's probably the new most checked out thing because it seems like we're acting just like Hitler these days.
You know what's funny about that? You mentioned that on the morning show this morning. I'll run through this very quickly. So I came over here to take my walk this morning. I usually walk around the house and all that stuff, that neighborhood. But I walked over here this morning. And as I was walking along, I was brushed by probably about 20-year-old on one of those scooters that make no noise.
Oh, sure.
Oh, the
At all.
electric scooters.
Yeah,
electric
they make
scooters.
They are
zero
very
noise.
quiet.
He did not say on your left. He didn't say, excuse me. He didn't say anything. He just blew right by me and brushed my arm. While
Sure.
he's doing like 30 miles an hour on the
Mhm.
sidewalk.
Yep.
It's like, why don't you go in the street if you're going to do that, right? So then I walk a little further, and there were people waiting for a bus. And there was about probably a 30-year-old guy that was staring at me the whole time as I was walking him. He just stared at me. So I got to him like about as far away as you and I are, but 4 or 5 feet. And I said, good morning. He did not respond at all. He just kept staring at me.
I hate that.
Oh, I know. It's horrible. Then to cap it all off with part 3, I'm walking to finish it into the parking lot over here, but I'm way to the side of the parking lot. And a guy driving a car gave me maybe 6 inches. He could have gone like about 4 or 5 feet to go around me. There was plenty of road to go, but he missed me by about 5, 6 inches.
He probably didn't even notice you.
Probably not. I mean, so I came up with this thing this morning. If you take the far conservative far right, and you take the woke on the far left, and if you put them together, you have the American Nazi Party. These people are Nazis. They really are. They don't care about anybody but themselves. They will ruin you if they possibly can. They love to harm other people. I mean, seriously, they're Nazis, basically. How did we get here? Somebody explain that to me.
Well, the onset of social media and the blame and shame
Yeah.
and shutdown and docs and all that stuff really started the whole thing, I think.
Yeah, it's that absolute narcissism. Me riding my scooter is more important than you walking.
Yeah, I guess.
I can ride my scooter. Same thing happened to me. On a trail, I typically will. Many people say you should walk on the right side.
Which I do.
Sure.
Okay. However, at this juncture, you have these scooters.
Yep.
You have these motorized bicycles that are going at 25, 30 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
That are come up behind you on the right side. I don't do that anymore. I walk on the left side so I can see these goofballs coming.
Yeah, that's smart. That is
I know
smart.
it's because there's no sound with these electric ones. And
Nope.
these kids, well, it's not just the kids. It's these old people. They're on these things and they're just whipping along like there's nothing to it. And so I'm on the left side. Sorry,
Mhm.
because I want no parts of you coming back by me just hitting me. Or if I step to the side, I don't know you're there. You hit me. It's just, or you go down. It's just no. On the left side. So, and
So they used to put baseball cards in the spokes of bikes.
They did make noise. Yep.
yeah,
You're absolutely right.
yeah.
That's exactly
Really? I
right.
thought it was just to be cool.
No, makes noise so people know you're there.
Oh.
I think you'd say it's most.
It's probably both.
It was probably.
I
It
did
sounds
that.
like a motor.
We got some clothesline clips and stole
Yep.
some of my brother's baseball cards. I
There
remember
you
doing
go.
that for a summer, thinking we were pretty cool. And my
Mhm.
banana seat bicycle.
We got a couple of comments after I was talking about, basically you put those two extreme sides together, the woke on the left and the overly conservative people on the right. And you do come up with the American Nazi Party, because unless you do it my way 100%, I hate you. That's the part I just don't understand. And I got several calls and they said, just like with the Nazis in Germany, it's to take over. It's always about money. People do not realize that Germany was all about money.
Well, they were
and taking over.
the inflation was terrible.
It was terrible.
Well,
Yeah.
and
They were blaming the Jewish people
They
because
were.
they were the bankers.
and the reason for that is that there was an underlying hatred or underlying anti-Semitism that was present there for
Sure.
centuries.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
anybody that's Jewish typically is in some sort of banking, in some sort of a merchandising kind of a process. And everybody thinks, just like I've said this before, people hated the Jews that were around my parents' home because they could make a buck off of selling something. They could buy something cheap, sell it to somebody else. And they thought that was crooked. It was just You
I
know,
know.
they had a skill set that the other people didn't have. So you had a store there, but they didn't like the people who ran the store because they thought they were getting cheated. So
You know what's really amazing about that? You bring that up because that's exactly what the listeners replied.
Yeah.
They said you put the woke far left together with the overly conservative nut job far right, and you become the American Nazi Party, like we said. And it's just, what do we have now? Every major college in America is anti-Semitic as hell. Nothing has changed in 100 years.
Nothing's changed since medieval times.
Well, that's true,
I mean,
too.
really. I mean, I don't know if you've ever watched any historical things or read up on British history. I mean, a king could be poxy, syphilis-addled brain,
Yeah, nothing you can do.
absolutely half dead, stunk because he had some sort of infection that was couldn't get under control.
Not under control.
Couldn't get under control, was a disgusting corpse of a human being, and they would prop him up and
Yep.
make him look like he was still in charge while the people around him were running the show.
Only way for a live king to not be on the throne anymore is if he abdicates, and abdication
Or died,
is very
or
rare.
absolutely died. And sometimes you didn't know if he died for a few weeks because they were
Yeah,
trying to figure
yep.
out who
Yeah.
was going to take power then. I mean, it's the same. Look at Joe Biden. It's the same thing. And the people want to believe that their, sacred, loving king is still in control.
Yeah.
So they're like, okay. I mean, they know that he's sick. They don't see him.
Generalissimo Francisco Franco, he was dead. How long was he dead for
Yeah.
before they finally
That's
admitted
right.
it?
I bet Biden will be, if he gets in again, he'll be dead for 3 years before we
Yeah, I
find out
know.
about it.
Whose phone is going
Probably
off?
moms.
My phone's going off?
Oh, you didn't hear that? Your
No, I
phone?
thought
Yeah.
that was a toy out in the lobby.
Nope.
But okay.
Whatever.
Anyway, I just nothing's changed since medieval time.
No.
Maybe
No,
nothing's
you're
changed
right.
since biblical times.
No, I don't
Yeah.
think so.
I
But
think people are people, and that's just how it is. And some people have figured out how to manipulate that situation better than others.
The greatest thing about that conversation, and that nobody got, overly angry about it or whatever. It's just that situation again. We're right back to where we were before World War I, World War II. The great majority thought we should have never gotten involved in Vietnam. I mean, you go down the list of we keep making the same mistakes over and over and over again. And I just don't understand why people who think they're so much smarter than everybody else on the extreme sides of both, if you're too far from being a Democrat, a Republican, or a centrist, you're nuts. I'm sorry, but you just are. We got so many calls about that people said, it's true. We just don't want to deal with this anymore. Can we all live together? And apparently the answer is no. But the one good thing that did happen, Josh Arnold was on right after we had talked about this. And Josh went off about the situation in our colleges in America. The major colleges in America are anti-Semitic as hell. Everything's the Jews' fault again, just like it was before World War II and blah, blah, blah. But then he started talking about Kinky Friedman, who had just died. Kinky Friedman was a very popular Jewish country singer in Texas. He was so popular, he got away with naming his band. This is real. He just died about 3 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Something like that. Very funny guy. They had a song called "They Don't Make Jews Like Jesus Anymore." That was his biggest hit. This is a true story. They don't make Jews like Jesus anymore. And the name of his band.
That's a great song.
Oh, it's phenomenal. It's a great song. You know what the name of his band was?
What?
This is true. And people in Texas loved it because he had a sense of humor. His band was called Kinky Friedman and the Texas Jew Boys. Can we ever get back to having that kind of sense of humor about who we are?
No.
It'll never happen again, will it?
No.
I mean, Josh Arnold went on and on. Apparently, he was playing golf. I can't say which course,
Man.
but he's playing by himself, so he was playing music. Said, "Tom, you should have seen the people gathering around me on every hole. What's that music you're playing? I didn't, a nice Jewish boy like you that listening to country music." He goes, "Yes, it's Kinky Friedman and a Texas Jew boy." And they're all like, "What?" But can we ever get a sense of humor like that again? Is that ever going to happen again?
No.
No.
Why not?
Because Karens are running the world.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, they are. They're all they're all crazy. And I'm lumping men in with the
Oh
Karen
yeah,
brand too.
Yeah,
I mean, look at who's the mayor of Chicago now?
Oh, that nut job.
He just blamed the 100 shootings and I think 17 deaths over the 4th of July weekend on Richard Nixon.
Well, that was
And
only,
what did Richard Nixon do?
I did not read the
You
story
couldn't follow
because
the- you
just
couldn't follow the
the
logic?
insanity
Wow.
on the headline was just enough for me to not want to. I mean, when was Richard Nixon in charge?
It's been a
68.
while.
60 years ago?
Yeah.
about 40 years ago.
Okay.
35, 40
Well,
years
that's
ago.
a long time.
Let's see.
No, you know what?
69 to 74. So it's, yeah.
So it's 50 years
50
ago.
years.
50 years ago. So, yeah. So, Richard Nixon, he's the reason why people are shooting each other in Chicago.
Well, we weren't here, but apparently you did see. Oh, no, we actually were back, but hadn't watched the news. Apparently, the chief of police of Minneapolis stood on the podium and was very, very proud of the fact that only 7 people got shot in Minneapolis on the 4th of July.
Well, you know what
So-
happens. We've lowered that
Jesus.
bar and
Yeah.
lowered the bar and lowered the bar, and now there is no bar anymore.
I mean, 7 people get shot. One of them died. The other 6 had been shot. And they were, I understand why you'd be happy the number's lower, but I wouldn't brag about it.
Yeah, until it's 0.
Yeah,
Well,
till
it's probably
0.
better than last year.
Oh, it's much better than last year.
Oh, is it much better than last year?
I guess so,
Oh,
yeah.
I
So
guess.
Well, it was a different. But last year, the 4th of July was on the. Oh, good Lord, it was on the Tuesday rather than Thursday. So
Yeah.
not much different as time goes.
No. Well, you know, it's really sad that we think that just, 7 shootings or 10 shootings is good.
yeah.
That's just, I mean, why don't we have a 0 tolerance policy on that? With all the gun laws that they're trying to pass and screaming and yelling about guns, they could do something about it, like stop dropping the gun charges every time somebody commits a crime with a gun. That was all those gun laws were produced so that people would be discouraged from using a gun
Right.
during a crime. And now it's like, oh, we're just going to drop those because Mary Moriarty wants that.
I just don't understand any of it. And it happens throughout right now. I mean, Catherine, you and I talked about that watching the national news while we're on vacation, that it's not just the United States. The whole world is nuts right now.
Oh, look at France.
Yeah, France is insane.
Germany's crazy.
Okay, now Andy
Sweden's
and
nuts.
Ralph, you have to vote on this one. Is in France the who was the guy that ran got 9 million votes?
Macron?
Oh, yeah.
well, he didn't.
The
Are you talking about Marine Le Pen?
Le Pen, yeah. So Le Pen got 9 million
She.
votes, correct?
Yeah, she.
And then the party who lost got 5 million votes, and that's who?
That was Macron.
That's Macron.
Yes.
So the one guy gets 9 million votes and lost the election because the other guy got 5 million votes.
Well, they have something like ranked choice voting, though. And
So they could fix all elections.
Well, yeah. So what happened was 2 leftist parties joined together
Mhm.
and had
they
200
dropped-
people drop
Yeah.
their affiliation or something with centrist and right
Yeah.
center.
Somehow they dropped a bunch of people, which gave them like the edge,
Yeah.
even though they didn't have as many votes. I don't know how it works.
Yeah.
But whatever happened to the will of the people? Remember we used to talk about that in America? That it was the will of the people. What the people want is what we're going to have.
That's never really been true, though.
No, it's never been
No.
true. That's what they tried to do.
Well, and what
obviously.
happens when you have a couple of different elections and you have people turning out and turning out? What happens is if something doesn't go the way you want to, you start a rally cry and
Yeah.
you get everybody wound up about one thing, and then everybody comes out and votes, whether on one issue.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
And the new party, the new Socialist Islamic Party, I think it was called in one article,
Right.
they are promising a retirement at 60.
Yep.
They're going to fix prices for food and gasoline, and there's going to be a bunch of free stuff, tons and tons of free
Oh,
stuff.
that won't happen. Oh,
It's
the
no-
promising that.
Well, that was
Yeah,
that's
no,
why
no,
they
no.
came out to vote for it, though,
That's
because they're
not
going to
gonna
get all
happen.
kinds of
No.
free
Yeah.
stuff, and
They're not gonna-
way
they're gonna-
more government jobs.
Mm-hmm.
They fixed the price. They fixed the price of bread after the French Revolution of a baguette
Yeah.
at a certain
I think it still
price,
is.
and it's still fixed. But
Yeah.
there's specific language that supports that and what baguettes are like that. But then all other bread which is craft bread, can be charged in
Right.
market price.
Right.
So if you want to get baguette, it's cheap. But if you want to get anything else like pain noisette, something
Yep.
with nuts in it, no, you're gonna pay for that. You're
Right.
gonna pay more for that.
Where are we at worldwide population?
8 billion something.
8.5 billion.
Too many people.
I know it's
And most of them are in the
insane.
Eastern Hemisphere.
Almost 8 billion, 7.951.
So we'll just say 8 billion people.
Yeah, it's close enough to 8 that functionally it is 8.
So
When I was born, it was 5.
5. It's
Wow.
really, it's gained
For
almost
3
it's
billion
almost
people
doubled.
in my lifespan. Yep.
And
Huh.
are they getting dumber by the day like everybody thinks?
Oh, it depends on the country.
It does.
It depends on the country. I mean, I think some of the Pakistan, India, they have a pretty good education system. There's a
Mhm.
lot of pretty good education system. China, I don't know. I don't
China's
know.
not doing great lately.
I don't know. Oh, they had a little problem with one of their dams there.
Yes.
The
Oh,
Three Gorges
God.
Dam
Mhm.
busted open and the
Well,
lake started to dump. Oh,
China's economy depends on American consumerism.
Yes,
it
and
does,
when our
100%.
economy isn't doing well, they're not doing well. So,
Well, it's not what I heard on the national news. Our economy's fine.
no, it's not.
No, it's not. You're absolutely right.
They revised all the job numbers, and it's not good. We're back up to 4.1% unemployment, which they lied about just a couple of weeks ago. I think everything's designed to manipulate the stocks.
It's all about
Stock
money
market,
yet
because-
again. It's
Because
money.
the stock market depends on jobs reports and economic indexes, right? So they come out with these fabulous numbers. Everybody's like buying and selling stocks, and the stock market goes wild. And then they revise them about 4 to 6 weeks later. And then everybody's made a bunch of money in the stock market. And then they start selling because the economy's bad. And then they just lather, rinse, repeat over and over again.
No, actually, Josh Arnold was talking about that today, that there's one stock, and I can't remember which one he said, there's one stock that's pretty much driving the entire market.
Tesla?
No, not Tesla. Tesla's not doing
Let me
very
guess,
well.
No,
No,
Tesla's doing fine.
Is it?
Mhm.
I thought they were having all kinds of problems with the cars.
They a lot of times have problems because they're coming up with new markets, and they're trying to get the cars to do, in my opinion, too many things. But people are still buying them, and he's got a huge gigafactory in China, and they're buying them
Oh,
like
yeah.
crazy in China.
Tesla stock, let's see, last Friday, no, 2 Fridays ago was worth 197. Now it's worth 258. So
Yeah.
So it has up quite a
Mm.
bit.
It has
Yeah,
gone,
that's a huge
gone,
increase.
but it's also, I mean, it's
Yeah.
as high as it's been in almost a year.
Tesla stock bounces around
It does,
a
yeah.
lot.
Yeah, I mean, in early 2023, so a year and a half ago, it was only worth 113,
Yep.
and then it shot up to 280, and
Yep.
then it went down, and then it went up.
Yeah,
and-
it does.
yeah.
It bounces around a ton.
so what stock drives the stock market, according to Josh Arnold?
I cannot remember. He said what it was, but I can't remember what it was.
I'm sure it was Apple.
Invicta? Is there a stock called Invicta?
Yes.
Are you thinking of Nvidia?
Nvidia, is that what
Oh,
it
and
is?
Nvidia. Yeah, Nvidia.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
pronounces it Nvidia, but that's actually technically
Nvidia.
not right.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, he
that-
does pronounce it Nvidia,
Yes, I used to pronounce it Nvidia too when I was younger.
but it's Nvidia.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
Nvidia.
And what
Nv-
is why is
they-
that such a hot stock?
They're the ones who are producing current technology AI chips.
Yeah, GPUs. Their thing has
Oh, there
been
you go.
Yeah.
GPUs for a million years. So a GPU is a graphical processing unit, which is like a CPU, but it's designed to perform specific calculations very, very quickly. So a CPU does everything and it does it okay. A GPU does a few things, but it does it very, very well. And it turns out that GPUs are also perfect for AI.
Ah,
And so as soon as the AI fad exploded, Nvidia's stock just went insane. It went from $14 in January 2023 to $130 today.
geez.
Man,
Yep, but that I mean, the AI
Yeah.
fad's not going to last forever as people realize that AI is absolute crap, but for now it's great for stockholders.
well, there you go. At least you can get people to say things they've never said because of that.
You don't think that it's going to find its footing?
I don't know.
In
there's
in
there'll be
industries?
uses.
There's uses for it.
Yeah.
There's definitely use cases for it, but The problem is every company wants it in every product, and almost always they're just bad.
So what I think is happening is every company wants it for every product because then they don't have to pay people,
That's true.
right? And it's just impossible to run
Yeah,
everything
They
through
want
AI.
they want it to replace like tech support
Yeah.
and like phone lines and that sort of thing. And that's, I think
Oh.
it will eventually be okay for that. But I mean, like, it's still so not good.
Well, even customer service, the first thing you get is an AI bot, right?
No, the
No,
first
you
you
don't
get
get
it. No,
AI.
you get some sort of a
You
I
get a
don't know, some
dial-out
algorithm
tree.
dial tree, and you dial, and if you're calling for any kind of, most of the time I call, it's for some specific thing that's just a hassle, and there is no
No, but if you try to
There's
do
no
it
choice.
online,
no.
if you try to do a
No.
customer service thing
It's-
online,
It's just it's a conditional tree disguised as AI for the
Oh.
most part.
because I just put bibbity bobbity boop over and over again until they give me a person.
Mhm.
I'm
It's not
sorry.
a bad idea.
We can't help you with that. It's like, yes, that's because I need a human being because you
So-
never can answer the question.
So, for a good example of why AI is bad, I actually decided yesterday to test it out. So there's this old website called Akinator, and the idea is you think of a person, and then it'll ask you questions and try to guess it. And it actually does a really good job. Like, think of any, like celebrity, fictional character or whatever. It's going to guess it eventually. So my friend Alex, he decided to do Mario because the Akinator is like, lately it's been very focused on things that like 14-year-olds are into. And we're like, how long is it going to take to get Mario? Because it took 7 guesses to get Skibbity Toilet, which I'm sure none of you know what that is.
No, I have
clue.
no idea what
No
that
clue
is.
what that
Any
is.
of our listeners who have a 12-year-old in the house know exactly what that is. It's just a meme among kids.
Okay.
So it took 7 guesses to get that, and it took like 25 to get Mario. And we were like, wow, that's actually like, it's very skewed toward like the latest thing.
Maybe that's who's using it. Though.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's exactly what it is. So I was like, let's see if an AI can get it. I said to the AI, I said, okay, I'm thinking of a character, and you can ask me yes or no questions, and we're going to see how long it takes you to get it. And it was like, okay, is it a fictional character? And I said, yes. And then it went on, and it after a while, it got caught up on like, because I said that the character is known for his athletics, which,
Yeah.
Mario's thing is jumping and running. That's,
Right.
basically all he's known for.
And punching.
And it got really caught up on that. It's like, oh, is he known for like Olympic sports, or is he known for like unusual sports? And eventually I was like, after 30 of these, I was like, you know what? We're good. Why don't you just make your guess? And he said, or the AI said, Alex Honnold. And I said, okay.
Who is Alex Honnold?
Is Alex Honnold a real person? And the AI said, yes, he's a famous rock climber. And I said, did I say that my character is a real person? And it said, no, you said it's a fictional character. And then it went, oh, wait, let me try again. So that's how good AI is right now.
Not very.
No.
Yeah.
It forgot that I said fictional like
Oh.
45 seconds earlier. So if it can't do
Unbelievable.
that, I don't think it's going to be replacing a whole lot of jobs, at least for a while.
Yeah, that is interesting, because once you in a computer, once you flip a switch,
It'll be, yeah.
once you flip a switch stays flipped.
Yeah, if you were to write the same program traditionally, just
Yeah,
conditionals, it would not have made that mistake. There's no
Right,
way,
right,
because
right.
you'd
They
have
would have taken out that variable.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
variable would be set, and
Yep.
it would filter out everyone real. But
Right.
because AI is more focused on giving you the answer that sounds right rather than what is right, it makes those mistakes all the time.
Now we're going to do something here because we got about 10 minutes left in the show, and it's
What happened to Lammers?
He couldn't make it today.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
he's always busy now.
He is always
Till-
busy now.
Here we go. The question would be: the Midwest has a reputation for being a little more polite than other areas of the country. Now, as we go into this, do you want to vote? Do you really think that the Midwest is more polite than other parts of the country?
Hmm,
Well,
No.
Ralph said no.
I say no.
I say no.
I say no.
I mean, I guess it really depends, like where in the Midwest. The Midwest is big. And even where in Minnesota, you
That's
go
very
downtown
true.
Minneapolis versus like rural Minnesota, the people are completely different.
That's true.
I have not looked to see who wins this race, but I will look as soon as I do the categories. Is it really true? Someone polled 2,000 Midwesterners to find out they didn't poll people in other areas of the country, so there's no way to do an apples to apples comparison. But here are some good mannered things and how many Midwesterners do them. Number one, apologize when you've done nothing wrong. 74% of Midwesterners say they do it regularly. I do not.
No, I hate apologizing when I don't think I've done anything wrong.
I agree with you 100% on that. You guys agree with that?
Yeah, I do. But someone just sort of steps in front of you just because they're trying to get around you, and they say, "Oh, I'm sorry." For what? You were trying to move on with your day. It makes no sense.
Number two, wave to people you don't know.
Sometimes, like if I'm driving down the street, especially like if I'm in my town,
Yeah.
if someone's walking by, I'll wave to them every so often just to,
Boat.
get that community feel.
Boat people wave a lot.
Yeah,
oh
they
yeah,
do.
absolutely. Boat people are always, yeah.
Okay.
I was like,
Acknowledging each
hey, how's
other.
it going over there? It's like, you don't know them.
That was 64% of people say they do wave to people they don't know. Number three, hold doors for strangers. Yes, I do
Yes.
all the time.
I just did that yesterday.
Yeah, but man, it's rare someone holds it for me.
Oh, you got that right. 55% of Midwesterners claim they do it. Number four, bring a shared dish to a party. No.
Yes, that's real
I don't-
common in Minnesota.
In Minnesota, it's
Yeah.
a big thing. Yes.
Yes.
73%, as a matter of fact.
Mhm.
They want to do that, and I think to myself, ugh, I don't want. No,
Yeah.
I don't want your job.
I want to be the first person to cut that thing up and put it on my plate.
Yeah, probably true. Smile at strangers. I do. Absolutely.
Oh, sure.
I smile at strangers all the time. Number six, tip well. That I don't know if the Midwesterners
I
do or
wonder,
not.
actually.
I think we're good
states by-
tippers.
Well, but
personally.
you have to adjust it for
There's so much guilt.
purchase power parity. So
I suppose.
because I
yeah.
mean, like I'm sure the average tip in California is like $300, but that'll get you a cup of coffee there.
That's about right.
Let's see. It's actually kind of all over the place in terms of percentage.
Yes.
And the spread is very small. Oh, that's just the top 10. Number one is California, 22.7%. But then it's Missouri at 22.05%.
Huh.
And Florida, Arizona, Rhode Island, Washington. So just kind of all over the map. It doesn't really seem to be like any specific region
Well,
tips well.
but what about the Promised Land, Nevada? You'd think the tipping really pretty good there.
yeah,
they
you would
are-
think.
Yeah, I mean,
Darn.
every time you win a poker hand, you're
They're
supposed to
neither
tip.
in the top 10 or bottom 10.
Huh.
Let's see.
Interesting.
Oh, here we go. Nevada, where are you? Did I miss it? Where did it go? Oh, here we go. Sort by alphabetical. They are 16.5%.
So they do tip well.
I mean, yeah, arguably. That puts them in the bottom half.
Because this is interesting.
In fact, it puts them at number what is this? 40. So they're in the bottom 10 actually,
Bottom
Oh.
10.
but not in this bottom 10.
That's interesting because I
Um,
remember when the economy was going strong way back in the day, that hardly anybody was even finishing high school near the strip because they could go and be a doorman and make lots of money just on tips.
Yeah.
I mean, when
Big
the economy
tipping.
was really strong, people were flocking to those jobs.
This, according to this study, said Midwesterners claim that 59% of them tip well. What do you think, Andy?
I think everyone says they tip well.
Yeah, that's
No one's
probably
going to say
true.
I'm a bad tipper.
Number 7, help a neighbor out with a chore. I would do that.
If they ask, but I've
Yeah.
never really been asked.
It
No.
depends on the chore,
That too.
and I don't want people helping me. I
understand that.
Some people comes over and and I'd feel responsible if they got hurt or they, and
Yeah.
I said, no, I'm good with it.
Oh, I
But,
I'm
know.
also-
Michael and Susan have been very helpful to
Yes,
me many
they've been
times.
wonderful.
Well, yeah.
All right, what did we need? We need a shim for
Yeah.
something. What were we doing?
Yeah. Shim for the replacement for some drywall. I needed to put like a support behind the
Oh,
drywall.
that's
so I
right.
could
We were
screw it in
fixing
there.
the wall, and you go over to Mike, and not only does he come back with a wooden one, but a plastic one.
Yeah, well, if you're asked for something, but just to spontaneously say, hey, can I help you with that? And I said, no.
Yeah.
No, I'm here. No.
Yeah, there you go.
When I'm doing a project, I work better alone anyway. I think.
Yeah.
Well, John, our neighbor, is very good about helping too.
Everybody's helpful in our neighborhood. In our whole
Um,
neighborhood.
Yeah,
Okay.
they were.
give give a stranger directions. Yeah, why wouldn't you do that? If they need
Oh, sure.
directions, why
If
wouldn't
I
you? do
know
it?
where, yeah, if I know where they're going, yes.
Just walk up
80%.
to someone and say, there's a Dairy Queen over on.
Well, that's help. That's good. That's helping someone. You know,
Giving
that
them
goes in that
directions.
category.
They don't want the directions, but I'm going to give them.
Okay, this one's going to be tough for everyone to answer because Catherine and I, coming back to town after being gone for a few months, witnessed something that we forgot all about, or at least I forgot all about it. Obey the speed limit.
Oh my
Ooh.
God. Only in Minnesota did they go under the speed limit on the freeways.
They do.
It's so
Some of them.
frustrating. And they're always in the left lane. It's 60, 65, and they're going 58, 57 in the left
Or 40.
lane. It makes me crazy.
Yeah,
We
no.
had an Uber driver on the way to the airport to go to Spokane. Mohammed's he was just railing on Minnesota drivers. He's from California, and he's like, the driving here drives me insane. You can't get anywhere because they won't let you merge in. They don't know how to merge.
Mhm.
They won't get up to speed. They go under the speed limit. He said it drives me nuts.
Obey the speed limit. Only 40% said they usually do. Just 37% yield to other cars in traffic. So even Midwesterners are not that polite behind the wheel.
No.
The team behind the survey crunched all those numbers and a few more, and they scored each city on how polite it is. According to the results, oh my God, the top 5 cities, according to the results, are Des Moines, Iowa, Minneapolis, Minnesota,
For
Naperville, being polite.
oh, really?
Well, I
I
mean,
don't believe it.
you're not buying it.
No.
Naperville.
More polite than it.
Minneapolis.
Yeah. So for being polite, here are your top places again. You got Des Moines, Iowa, number 5. Minneapolis, Minnesota, number 4. Naperville, Illinois, number 3. Overland Park, Kansas, number 2. And the number 1 polite city in America is St. Paul, Minnesota.
Huh.
Minneapolis and St. Paul made the top 4, both of them.
I think that's a paid endorsement.
That.
I think they spent some money. I think the Minnesota Department of Tourism
Yeah.
Skewed
coughed
by
up
money.
some cash.
Yeah, skewed
'Cause
by money.
Honest to God, people will go out of their way to not let you merge in this state.
That's true.
That is true.
I don't like. I've lived a lot in Florida, and I've lived a lot in Minnesota, and I think Florida probably edges out Minnesota
For being polite or
Yeah.
not polite.
for being polite.
Yeah, being polite. The last line of the story, meanwhile, the 2 rudest cities in the Midwest are both in Indiana, Evansville and Fort Wayne, Indiana. Then it's Rockford, Illinois, Columbus, Ohio, and Detroit, Michigan.
Well, Detroit makes sense.
Yeah.
War
Fort
zone.
Wayne,
Makes sense.
Indiana. Of all, man, I've had history there in North. I passed through there to go to North Manchester, Indiana. Man, that's odd. That's odd. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I would love to know what the criteria is
Yeah.
for all of these
Yeah, that's
little
true.
studies.
Now, this might be funny and it might be not funny. I have not pre-read it, but the politest city in America, St. Paul, the top 5 signs you're rude.
Hmm.
Okay, you ready for this? Actually, I'm sorry. I got to save them.
Wouldn't
at
they just be
top
the
one.
opposite? You don't hold doors. You don't follow the speed limit.
Well, wait a second. Just for a second, we look at the math on some of this stuff. They only talked to 2,000 people. So if
Yeah.
there are 20 cities, that's only 10 or 100 per city. But there are more than 20 cities that they looked at.
Yeah.
They probably looked at 100 cities. So that's only
Yeah, not a great sample size.
no. That's
And have any of these people try to get into a Trader Joe's parking lot
Oh, God,
or
yeah.
Lunds and Byerly's? I mean, people will mow you down
Mhm.
for a parking space.
One of the rudest things in America is pretty funny. You never use your turn signals and you don't even drive a BMW.
Well, in Florida, they do not use turn signals.
No,
No, they
they
do
sure
not.
don't.
No,
No, they
no,
don't.
they view that as a tourist thing. You're not from Florida if you use your turn signals.
Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll close out the show today with the top 5 signs that you're rude. Number 5, Your only tip for the Starbucks barista is to get a real job. When a small child reaches down to pet your dog, you say, Cujo, kill. Well,
Oh.
that's beyond rude.
Okay.
I say that to Daisy. Bite him.
Bite him. Yeah, there you go. Number 3, you just wave. You wave just at the elevator doors close on someone rushing to get in. So you just wave goodbye.
Mhm.
That's happened to me.
Yeah, that's rude.
And I'll tell you about the waving too. Keep going.
Number 2, you think every waitress has the same name. Toots. My mother was a waitress for 54 years. My mother Toots fit right in.
Oh.
Yeah.
This one I found funny. The number 1 top 5 signs that you're rude. You hum the Oompa Loompa song around short people.
I sing the what is it, Randy Newman song.
Short people
people.
got no reason to live.
Is that rude? I don't know.
I do one of the Wizard of Oz songs. The thing that really upsets me more than anything is when someone's driving, you happen to be in the crosswalk
Yeah.
and they don't stop and they go right past you and
Oh,
they
yeah.
wave to you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They wave to you, and I, what's this waving to you? You just damn near ran me over, and you're waving to me.
That's true.
That makes no sense. I don't get.
I thought that today was a very educational day. We had to go after some people that have extreme political views because we're sick to death of you destroying everything you touch. But then we had a few laughs at the end, so it all balanced out,
All
don't you
balanced
think?
out, so we can all leave without having to take Prozac.
Exactly. Well, have a great
Yes.
day, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Got a picture in my pocket reminds me of this one was before. Every time I get to see it reminds me how you talking my